Instead of trying to change the white man and your mind, make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism, like you got in Africa 9, like you got in Haiti. So what we're talking about is there has to be educational program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, it's so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionless movement. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more. And before you know it, they'll be chaplets. And before you know it, we have Negro imperialists.
Peace and Black Power family. Your Harlem educator, author, and activist, the Black Liberation Coach, Brother Ashante Imhotep. I just want to take a few moments to welcome you to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School was started in 2016 by myself and my queen. And we basically saw that there was a lack of foundational black political education going on in Harlem. We're not going to get up from under white supremacy without knowing how oppression works, how it affects and impacts in our community, the ways in which we internalize our own oppression and engage in self-defeating behavior and thinking, and our socio-political movements and our very important individuals and organizations throughout our history who played a leading role in fighting against and resisting and disrupting white supremacy. So Harlem Liberation School was founded as a black political education center for adults. Because education is not just relegated to children. Adults need education. It's those of us adults who maybe when we were kids did not get that foundational Africana studies of black political education. The things we need to know to be free and to fight effectively for our liberation. So that's what we're here to do. We hope that you will come through, check us out, look at our videos, like them, comment on them, and share them. Peace and Black Power.
Peace and Black Power families, Brother Ajay Taimba from Harlem Liberation School, where we teach Black people, new Africans, how to wake up, clean up, and stand up, in the words of our beloved Jegna and ancestor, Brother Malcolm X. Family, we hope that you checked us out. You checked me out, actually, I guess, earlier today, talking about the topic, don't hate, celebrate your brothers and sisters. And we certainly are thankful that you're joining us now. And we're going to have a number of events coming up, broadcasts, with our Hip Hop 50s series, talking about the evolution of hip hop, why different people love it from a grassroots perspective, not from like a celebrity, rich industry person's perspective. So we hope that you will stay abreast of our commercials and tune in for that. Today, we are talking about the need, well, I guess you could say the Black community needs protection. What that means, how we do that, and we're going to have some people on board, family, that are not just talking about we need to do that, but they are actively involved in providing protection for our community. One of the key planks, self-defense that is, of Black nationalism is that we have the right and responsibility to protect ourselves. So we have some beautiful Black men that are on here who stick their necks out, who are helping to train our people, organize our people, politically educate and re-educate them, and set us up to win instead of setting us up to lose, right? And so I'm going to bring them on, going to add them on to our broadcast. Got Brother Amun, Brother Babu, man, thank y'all brothers for coming on. How y'all doing?
I feel black. I'm black. I'm alive. It's a beautiful day, Babu. How you doing?
Hey, no complaints, my brother. I'm breathing. It's a good day. That's for sure. Brother Babu, how you be, man?
Like Brother Amun said, man, today is a good day. We're blessed to be here. So all thanks to the Creator.
That's right. Now, to begin, for the brothers in the studio and those watching, and we know if you're watching, don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Share this link, man, and get more brothers and sisters watching this. It, for the sake of transparency, brother Ashante First, who really is more of a person, he's a proprietor. He's actually a former member of the New Black Panther Party under Brother Khaled. But now he kind of pivoted. He has his own business teaching about how to get registered to own a gun, gun training and stuff like that. That's what he does. He might be having difficulty getting in the studio, family. So for those watching, just know he may or may not be able to join us. Secondly, Sister Lassetti Shakur from the Sisters of the Underground, she called me up, we had a conversation, and for reasons that we're going to keep in-house, not going to be kind of publicize that, she felt a little uncomfortable. She felt like maybe she should sit this one out. That's going to be an in-house discussion, family. Just trust that we know what we're doing. Everything is not meant to be aired to the public. All right. But she sends her greetings and she supports from behind the scenes. So we're going to get started. Family, let me just get started with a few comments. We got some people in. We got my queen, B. She says, here we go. She loves this stuff, y'all. This sister here, in another life, I think she was either a hit woman for hire or a commander of a militia. She loves this stuff here. Oh, man. Here we got our good sister, Mila Renee. We had her on not too long ago, one of our fitness experts, content creators. Brother Moon's Queen in the building. And the Queen Bee is reminding us to please welcome our good brothers, me, and of course, Brother Amun and Brother Babu as well. All right. Salute to all the brothers and the sisters, those of you watching. Now, let's get it in. I guess, brothers, we could start with a general introduction. If you could kind of tell us your name, the city or state you're in or you represent, your organization, and generally what services do you provide? I'll leave the question there so you can see it.
Yeah, greetings. My name is Brother Babu Omowale. I am out of the great city of Dallas, Texas. I am one of the co-founders of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, and we organized this club in 2014 to bring an end, hopefully, to police brutality in our city. As you know, nationwide, that police brutality has not stopped, but by monitoring the police and doing patrols, we have brought the violence down in our city. So that was our main reason for organizing the police. I'm goddamn, I said that wrong. Excuse me, brother. For organizing the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. For organizing the Huey P. Newton Gun Club was to monitor the police in our communities.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, Brother Babu. And you said you're in Houston, correct?
I am in Dallas.
Dallas. Okay, excellent, excellent. Thank you for that. Brother Amun Tekala Imhotep in the building. Please, black man, could you similarly introduce yourself and your organization?
I say, Babu. We're currently in Houston. We're in Houston, Texas, based out of Houston, Texas. My organization is Anubis. I have the honor and duty of being the national commander. Basically, we do things, we're tactical support. So we do things like domestic violence rescues, anti-terror operations, security services, protection services, things of that nature. Also, along with ensuring that the public is fed, we give out clothes and mentorship programs.
Thank you for that, Brother Moon. Thanks to both of you. I'm curious to know, a lot of our people, particularly those of us who say we're black nationalists, one of the key planks of the ideology is the right to self-defense, the responsibility to defend ourselves, but not a whole lot of us actually do it. Like, we know it's an important ideal, we talk about it, but a very small minority of brothers and sisters actually organized to do that. I'm curious to know what led you to create or join, both of you I think helped create your organization. So what led you to create your formations? I think that's the question I want to lead off with.
That's an awesome question, Babu. Will you please go first, sir?
Well, for me, as a member of the New Black Panther Party in 2013, I didn't see the fulfillment of self-defense being brought forward in the organization. We had a lot of platforms where we fed the people, where we clothed the people, health and education platforms, but there was no direct platform for self-defense. And I thought it was imperative that we as a people have the ability to defend ourselves on a national level. So that's what led to me creating the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. It was created out of a need for a national self-defense platform.
Thank you for that, Brother Babu. And just as a follow-up, all of us in the studio know this answer, but we can't assume those watching do. For those who don't know, why did you name the gun club the Huey P. Newton Gun Club? What is his significance to the issue of self-defense?
Right. As we know, with the creation of the original Black Panther Party in 1966, Huey P. Newton was the Minister of Defense. And we go straight to point number 7 on the 10-point platform. We want an end to police brutality in the Black community. So with Huey P. Newton being the Minister of Defense and point number 7, it just was common sense that we would name the organization after someone who dedicated his life to the defense of the people in this community.
I shave for that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Brother Amun, it's the same question to you. A lot of people talk it, we need self-defense, but they're not out there creating militias. Brother, what led you to do that? Do you have a background that lent itself to that? Like, I'm very curious about that.
Basically, I'm happy that Babu is on right now, because this is going to answer the age-old question of how did Anubis get here? I originally started out as a new Black Panther under Crystal Muhammad back in, I think it was 2016. And much like Babu Omowale, I had the same thought process. I joined to defend. You know, being a former military operator, I saw the need for a protective unit because of the amount of police killings, not just police killings, but things happening in the community just in general. So I defected from there, and I joined another Panther faction under Sister Lena and Sister Tila, and it was still pretty much the same thing. We need a defense corps. And it was still, the answer still wasn't given. So from there, I joined up with the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. And I got to know Babu Omowale, he got to know me, and then I asked him if I could make a special operations unit based on what I saw, the threat that was on the street. We didn't just need a military, you also need a paramilitary faction. Somebody that could get just as aggressive as the streets are. So I asked him for permission to start that under the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, which Babu Omowale, actually, I would be in history the second commander of Anubis. Babu Omowale was appointed by me. I asked him to be the honorary commandant. So from there, we went on missions and everything, and I gave him back briefs. And one day, Babu Omowale said, "Great job, Anubis. Amun, you got it." And ever since then, I've been the commander of Anubis. I hope that answers everybody's origin question.
Certainly answers mine. And, you know, I want to commend both of you on that level of humility that's required to be able to operate like that. For you to say, would it be cool with you if I did this? For brother to say, yeah. For you to name him the first commander. For him to say, you got it. I like that level of humility and teamwork. Because, you know, we brothers, we got the testosterone, and it's good to know that we can do that. That's important. Appreciate that.
I said to myself coming into the game, you know, first of all, I'm not new to military life. I did that over half of my life, but I was new to the revolution way of doing things. Okay. And this man here, Babu Omowale, is the legit godfather of the 2A movement. And I thought to myself, I think it's very disrespectful. You don't cover somebody's area and not check in or ask for permission. And like I told everybody, had Babu said, no, I think you need to stay in Huey P, and I know that right now, I would have followed orders. Because what I saw in Huey P was what I was looking for a defense effort. No more great. We passing out stuff, great. If I want to keep doing that, I'd stay in the NAACP. There's a real fight coming. And what I saw in the Huey P. Newton Gun Club was that These brothers got weapons, and they believe in training with weapons. This is where I need to be because I mean the threat is just increasing and increasing and increasing. So I have to give Babu homage for that. I absolutely have to. You know, if it weren't for him, this symbol, I'm sorry, this symbol right here would be on my chest right now if it weren't for him.
Okay. Brother Amun, again,
Mhm.
we can't assume that the audience has the prior knowledge we have. Explain for people in terms of Kemetic history and culture the importance of Anubis. What is Anubis? What does it represent?
Anubis is he has several names. Anubis, the African term, this is actually a Greek name. Anything with an IS on it is Greek. But if you're looking for the names of Anubis, one is Eshu, one is Elegua, one is Sobek, one is Baba Legba. But the European name for Anubis would be the Grim Reaper. In short, Anubis's name is Karma. The reason being, the reason why I chose Anubis is that we have to show karma. If you give us love, I give you love. If you poison my community, you hurt my community, then we will give you unrelentless, unforgiving karma. Because it's just like the Panthers in the 60s. They showed people, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And after that, it was, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. It just has to be what it is sometimes.
Yes, sir. This is an unscripted question. I'm curious to know, so many people started their, what I want to say, journey in terms of self-defense or militias through the new Black Panther Party, and then created other organizations or joined other organizations. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, we need more, sometimes you need more than one formation. That's fine. Do you find that there are any challenges that you are facing that you think is public friendly to say? Do you think there's any challenges that we're having in the world of self-defense for our community? Are you finding that people are able to work together? Are you finding that ego gets in the way? Are you finding what are your thoughts on that? The things that you are willing to share.
You want to go first?
Sure, I'll speak on it. First and foremost, what brought me to the new Black Panther Party was the vision of Dr. Khaled, who was in here for the murder of James Byrd. I saw the new Black Panther Party, and those brothers were armed and strapped up. I believe this was 1997. So that is what intrigued me to originally join the new Black Panther Party. After the death of the Honorable Khalid Muhammad, a lot of the militant side of the organization started to dissipate, and it was more rhetorical, more rhetoric. Now, second part of your question, as far as egotism and narcissism in the struggle, we're going to have that. But we're going to have that in every part of society, whether it be Black, white, Latino, whatever, Hispanic. That's going to be in every part of society because people have egos, and people are going to hate on your success in the struggle. And my thing is, there should be no competition for the liberation of our people. That process belongs to all of us in the African diaspora, that each one of us have to be a part of that for us to reach our final goal, and that is the total liberation of Black people in North America.
Right.
Thank you for that, Brother Babu. I noticed that you've been pretty vocal as of late on some of your lives of saying, if the new Black Panther Party needs maybe new leadership, new direction, new energy, I'm going to throw my hat in. Could you just tell us briefly what compels you to say that, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the questions.
Right. Well, just understanding that the new Black Panther is what brought me into consciousness. Before the new Black Panther Party, I was just another street Negro, but I've always been militant. The reason I threw my hat in the arena for chairman is because I was just tired of seeing the organization being drugged in the dirt on social media. I was tired of seeing the images of the new Black Panther Party as not being a representative to the people. The legacy that Dr. Khaled created, the legacy that Aaron Michaels created, all of that was being soiled by some of these newer members, some of these newer generation members who didn't completely understand what struggle is. So I just threw my name in there, man, to try to right this ship, to try to bring the new Black Panther Party back to relevance again, and to stop having the dirt thrown on our name. And it's going to be an uphill fight. I can guarantee you that.
Hey, brother, we appreciate the fact that you see a need and you're prepared and willing to fill it. Can't get mad at that. If you're competent, and you clearly are, and you're sincere, which you clearly are, can't get mad at that. If you're trying to help make things better.
Yeah, before Brother Amun tap in, one of the things they say I'm too old. I mean, hey man, I'm 56, man. I can still do 50 push-ups. I can still lift almost 300. I can still lift almost 300 pounds, right at 300
hey,
pounds.
Man, stop showing off, man.
Hey man, so don't let the little belly fool these guys, man. I am still physically able. I'm not like Joe Biden when I get up to the podium. I can't remember what I'm going to say next, So I'm still competent enough. And again, we want the party to be younger, but man, the younger generation just has not picked up on the struggle. They didn't have the same difficulties that the original Panthers had growing up. They didn't have the same difficulties that we had growing up in the 80s. So that's why I feel like the younger generation has not been more inclusive, because they don't know our struggle.
Yes, sir. Amun, did you want to add on anything to that before I continue?
Well, to answer part of your questions, or answer the totality of your question, actually, Baba, I always say ego is necessary for survival, because it is, especially as it applies to men. I also say every leader has to have a degree of ego. You got to. Why? Because if you don't, you become a pushover. I think the biggest thing in this doggone and what we would call the movement is everybody expects to like everybody, and everybody wants to be liked by everybody. That's not leadership. I was taught that in the Marine Corps as a boot. I was taught that in the Marine Corps when I went to the drill field. I was taught that in the Marine Corps when I was a doggone special operator. If you're a true leader, they're not gonna like you all the time. Other leaders ain't gonna like you all the time. What's important is the purpose that you're here for, the work that you're here for. And I think it's way too much he say, she say, blah, blah, blah. I tell everybody all the time, I don't worry about what you're doing in your organization. That's not in my protocol. I'm worried about this symbol right here. I got to give that honor. You see what I'm saying? I'm not even worried about what happens in Huey P. And Huey P is our origin. I respect them. That's why you'll never see me and Babu apart from each other. Never. Because of the fact that I owe him in that allegiance. But at the end of the day, if we had to the point that the younger cast came in and we actually understood our origin stories, and we understood that certain things are rated a level of respect and decorum, then I think everything will be okay. If we knew the 10-point plan, if we knew the 9-point local objectives, if we studied the 5 duties of a Panther, because everybody says they came from a Panther, I know the information. And I try my best to practice it. Now, is everybody perfect? No. Show me one perfect person, and I'll show you a person that just lied to your face. Because everybody's is human. They got the thing is they expect leaders to be like, we come in with a church mind. I'm not your pastor. All right. I don't read the Bible. You can't talk to me like that. I won't turn the other cheek. You slap me, I'm gonna punch you in the face. You say something disrespectful, I'm gonna cuss you out. It's just I'm human. But if we keep saying noop poo noop, we keep saying I am that I am, but yet you wanna push whatever it is in an effort to destroy each other. You can't say black power. You can't say BB for Hodier. You can't say black power to the people. If you're constantly putting poison in something that's trying to be polished, go sit down with the troglodytes.
Fair enough, brother. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You're being an enemy.
Yes, sir. Now, Brother Babu, I want to follow up something you said, brother, that I think and I say often, and I've even written on it, is that the Black Power movement that forged, I'm going to say, my parents' generation, right? That made them so tough and so creative and so innovative that we're still learning from them today, from that generation, the 60s and 70s. We got us not as rough and hard, but we had it hard in the 80s. We dealing with crack and coke and heroin and gang warfare and Ronald Reagan and all this crap. So we came up in a tough, and we said we all agree that this generation doesn't have it like that. So it makes me wonder, do we need to create an artificial situation where it's tough so they can be hardened and toughened? And that leads me to the question of your training. How do you train brothers and sisters in this world today that complain about everything? They triggered by everything, right? How do you bring out the type of qualities they need to have to be soldiers and warriors in our community? What do you do, I guess, as part of your program to help to get them where they need to be?
Well, I have to be honest with you. It is complicated because, again, we see this generation is privileged. They don't have the same struggle that our parents have. They don't have the struggle of water hoses being turned on our community, dogs being unleashed on the people in our community in the 60s. And as we go on to the 80s, the early 80s specifically, the Black community was thriving. And because of that, our government purposely infiltrated our communities with crack cocaine and drugs of that nature to bring us back down. This generation has to understand more of the struggle that happened before them. They have to understand that they are in the place that they are now because someone else before them dared to struggle, dared to put their life on the line. We say Medgar Evers, we say Martin Luther King, we say Malcolm X, and we say so many. But this is a generation of YouTubers. This is a generation of gamers, PlayStation and Xbox 3s, and they just have so many privileges that we didn't have, that they think they live in a perfect world now. But as far as the training, we offer it to the young people so they will have a understanding of firearms. These firearms are not toys like you see in the video. Firearms are designed for one reason and one reason only. Firearms are designed to take a life. So we educate them on the responsibility, and we educate them on the safety of being a firearm owner.
Very good. Very good. Brother Moon, anything to add to that? Like your training? And matter of fact, I saw a post that Brother Babu put up a while ago. He said, listen, he endorsed Anubis. He said, man, they work you hard. and that's a good thing, right? Because you want to make sure the brother can run and shoot, or the sister. What are the elements of your training, would you say, that help create the type of warriors that we would need, Brother Moon?
Well, the thing is, I take more of a stern stance with training because of our mission, and I understand that there's difference in the organizations. I tried to say this on another guy's channel, but I got cut off. We'll be all right. There's a difference in organizations where you have this organization that is designed to do this. You have another organization that is designed to do that. Everything has a different mission statement. So, in regards, if I want my soldiers to be ready to be in stack formation outside of 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever time, I need to have them physically prepared, mentally prepared, and ready always. The thing of the matter is, I can't sugarcoat anything with them. I can't be soft. I can't be tender with their training. Because like I used to say in the Marine Corps, if you can't, that's how I tell my jackals now. If I can't get in your face and you not feel some kind of way, you're going to completely disintegrate if a bullet flies over your head. Or if you see a woman that is beat up to the point that she can't be recognized, I've seen it, you're going to fall apart. If you see a woman, if you see a body, you're going to fall apart. And these are all possibilities based on our mission. I have to make you strong. I want you to defend myself. I train my sisters the same way. They have to lift weights. They have to run. They have to be in shape. They have to have African knowledge to understand why they do what they do. You can't say a BB for Hojier and not know how to say it or what it means because it's a very powerful statement. It's a mission statement. Black liberation. That is what we fight for. That is what we die for. That is what we rescue for. That is what we stand on with everything. And so I took a Marine Corps like approach because when they kept pushing simple fidelis, all the way in our system, all the way in our structure, our inner energy, right? By the time we got out of the Marine Corps, we still let a Marine is, hey, simplify. You know what I mean?
Always faithful.
Or always faithful, but that's the message. Always faithful. Or if we go to when I went to recon, Swiss Island and Deadly, I would already know if I looked at another Marine that was a recon and he goes simplify, say do or die, he say Swiss Island, and I would finish it deadly. Because we know what we've been through, we know the training, we know the mission statement. Mission statements are hyper important, and I think our younger generations, no disrespect, because I know some great ones, but at the same time, we're missing the mission statement. We like the uniforms, we like the masks, we like the likes, we like the loves, the comments, the people going, ooh, look at them online, but you're missing the mission statement. So that means when you sit down and you decide to go back to church, or whether you decide to go hang back with troglodytes because you got white friends that you want to play video games with, you forgot the mission statement. If you now your job is more important than the people. Now hanging out at the club is more important than working for the people. Me and Babu like to do that too, but we're doing the BB for Hodier first.
Absolutely. And if I may add on to that, brother.
Yes, sir.
Amun has a Marine background. I have a Army background, and we get criticized a lot because we fought for the imperial government of the United States, and I understand people's feelings about that. But you have to understand, as a 17, 18-year-old boy coming out of a crime-ridden community, that a lot of us are not thinking about imperialism. We don't even know what the term stands for.
That's right.
The military gave us an opportunity to escape prison and or even death. But what I can say about Amun and myself and other brothers like us is that after we served, we brought that information back to the community and trained our people. And it has a lot of similarities as the spook who sat by the door. We went in, we got the training, and we brought the training back to the masses of people.
Yes, so I appreciate that. And I relate. I'm not a military person by any means, but as I guess you might say a scholar activist, I went to the white man's colleges. People, oh, you went to the white man's schools? Yeah, I went to the schools to get the information, the tools, the skill set, and I brought it back to the community. Right? That's what it's about. Infiltration, not integration. So I salute that, and I relate to that. Now let me ask y'all. Yes, sir.
I'm just throw the tidbit in about military people. If you look at it frown on military veterans that are here now, you can't say you salute the deacons of defense. You can't, because they were all former military. You can't say you can't say salute to those brothers that fought hard in the Tulsa massacre because they were former military. You can't talk about the month of Port Marines and say salute to them because the one thing you fell to realize is there's a lot of black revolutionary minded people that are in the Marine Corps even now. The month of Port Marines had to be segregated from the white Marines. They just wanted to serve, but why did they want to serve? They wanted to take care of their family. It wasn't about, I'm a patriot. They wanted to take care of their family. And that's the same reason I joined. I was poor, man. I was either that or stay on the streets doing what I was going to do. I had to leave because if not, I was going to be behind some bars or going to be in a graveyard. I saw my best friend die right on the side of me and I didn't want to join him. It's time to go somewhere and do something with my life. So excuse us for looking at our life and saying, I don't want to be on the losing end. All right. So if we out there and we doing what we got to do and we taking stuff home, my drill instructor was black and he told me Brother Sergeant Caldwell, he said, there's no place for a black man in the military, but you make your place in the military. And I appreciated them for that. They helped me mentor young brothers that didn't have a father in the Marine Corps. It's a whole nother fight in the Marine Corps with you. In the military, it's a whole nother fight. And that's what our civilian brothers and sisters ain't seeing. We ain't sellouts because we went there. Shoot, I was under investigation because I thought I was a Panther then. But at the end of it, there's a whole nother fight. There's young brothers that are just trying to make a living and have something out of life. Something. And if the community ain't giving it to you, you got to get it from somewhere.
That's right. Hey, listen, brothers, I completely understand. As a revolutionary, you use whatever tools are at your disposal, right?
There you go.
And if you think about guerrilla warfare, these people got knives and axes and forks and knives going up against a conventional army. They use what they have at their disposal. They kill the army official and take his weapon and use it. So it's completely understood. Completely understood. We do what we have to do to get what we have to get. Absolutely. Comes down to your intention. Why you're doing it, and who you intend to serve. So I hope everybody watching gets that, and that we're nuanced enough to understand what they're saying. Don't get caught up in the, oh, you working for the white man, because we're colonized people. So that's a whole, is that a trick question? Yeah, to some degree, yes, we're colonized by these people. So yes, our food, clothing, shelter, education, a lot of it comes through them. But at the end of the day, it's what are you doing? Who are you doing it for? What's your intentionality? You know? So I respect that.
Right.
Let me ask you this though. There's a big debate in our community between, I guess, the more radical elements and the more conservative that say the white man, the police, and the white race soldier vigilantes are killing us, and then the conservative blacks come and say, yeah, but we kill ourselves too, which technically is true. That brings the question, if you had to really answer this, what is the major threat to black people's safety, let's say here in the United States, as you see it?
Wow, great question. There are so many threats. There's a threat when it comes to economics. There's a threat when it comes to our lack of education. But for me to sum it all up, even police brutality, is white supremacy as a whole, and black people not having any control of the direction that we're going in this country. We're not in charge of anything. We don't have anything of our own. Like Dr. Clark said, we can't even make our own underwear. So we are totally dependent on the colonizers. Until we start to do something for ourselves, there's always going to be a threat of dependency. White supremacy has militarized dependency. If they go today and they shut off our water, where do we get our water from? If they go today and they shut off our electricity, how do we survive? We're totally dependent on the white structure. Until we can start to create some of these things on our own, we're going to always be to them second class in their eyes, even though we know that we are the kings and queens of the earth.
Well said, Brother Babu. Brother Moon, what's the major threat to our safety in this country, brother?
I agree with a lot of what Babu was saying in that regards on the infrastructure level, if you want to talk politics. But if we're going to really talk about being safety, self-accountability time, us, I'm going to tell you why I say that. I'm going to tell you why I say that. Yes, it's true that black people don't have their own, but it's also true that black people have $1 trillion spending power. Okay? A lot of us have stopped supporting us in any aspect. I mean, black business is a strain just to get somebody to support us. It's hard. Okay. Also on the defense side in general, I keep telling folks, yes, you can put a grenade. Yes, I blame troglodytes for putting grenades in our lap, but I also fought us for constantly consistently pulling the doggone pins. We don't have to. We have no other choice but to be in hell. But if you look at if you look at the facts that we was in the '80s, where we were in the '80s, we're totally self-reliant. If you look at the '70s, we're totally self-reliant. Okay. Now, with that being said, I know there's a lot of policies put in place that keeps black people down, but it happened in slavery too. It happened in the '60s too. It happened in the '70s too. It happened in the '80s too. In the '90s, it's like we quit supporting us. Money's a big thing, but power really is the only thing we understand. As there's some of us that are rolling over here, I call them the N words, you know that are over there supporting troglodytes. So you got the troglodyte supporters. I'm not racist. You don't want to be racist, and that's our biggest problem. Back then in the '80s and '70s and '60s, we were racist, and I'm gonna fix that. This is what racist means. Racist is a two-part word. Race comes from the word ras. It's German, which means to run fast. Is Latin. That means a practitioner of something. So if you play a piano all the time, you're a pianist. If you turn flips all the time in the gym, you're a gymnast. If you play the violin all the time, you're a violinist. So if you practice your race all the time, you are a racist. When I say prejudice, you're a racist. You put you first. We stop putting us first. So that's why I say it's us.
And just to add on to that real quick, brother, if you don't mind, and we know to be racist that you have to have some sort of power over other ethnic groups. As black people, we don't have any power over anybody else, not even ourselves. We've given away our power. When you look at the Black Economic Plan, when you see black jobs, what do you mostly see? Black people in entertainment, black people opening up barbershops, and black people opening up food business. Those are the three main entities that you see. Where are our distribution centers? Where are our construction services? You know, we have to get away from just the barbershop mentality, and that's all we can do. Mm-hmm. We have to get away from just, serving people hot plates, and that's all that we have to bring to the table. We have to explore more economic options in our communities to actually empower ourselves.
I feel you on that, brother. Babu. We talking about nation building. What are the components that a nation needs? Yes, sir. And for those of you watching, there are many ways you can get in where you fit in. There are many avenues that lead to liberation. Just think of all the things that you do in a typical month. You go to the post office. Yeah, we need that. You look on the news. Yeah, we need news. There's firefighters. There's law enforcement. All of those things are components. There's teachers and schools and all of that, right? So yes, absolutely what the brother said. Very important to remember. Remember, our thinking has to be nuanced. The era of the rigidity, it's just this one way. Those days, I pray, are over. What we dealing with white supremacy is deluxe and complicated and sophisticated, and we have to be at least as complicated to be able to eradicate it. I was wondering, brothers, Brother Babu, you're with the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. Brother Moon is with the Anubis Militia. What's the difference between a gun club and a militia?
It's according to what label you want to put on it. We all fight the same. We all fight the same power system. I would put us in a family together where we can all understand it as a SAFO, a family unit. To me, there is no difference. One is just a wording. It is just a wording, but we all fight the same fight, dear brother.
Okay, got you. Brother Moon?
I would say militia is military. It's strictly military. What I love about the Huey P. Newton Gun Club is they are a militia. If you look at them, they are a militia. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like Elmer Geronimo Practice. Also, it's a militia. Very structured, very disciplined. I take the more military approach to where there's an actual rank structure. You have to respect the rank structure. You got to know your rank structure. This, left face, right face, drill, the whole thing. Actual, factual military. Other than that, we one in the same. We're all one in the same. It's just I don't have gun club behind my name.
Okay, fair enough. And from where you sit, because I'm thinking I'm a brother from Harlem, man, you know, Northeast. And we got gun laws, man, that are so restrictive, man. I mean, you touch a gun and you're not registered. I think there's 3 years per bullet or something crazy like that, automatically,
Mhm.
right? Whereas those of you in the South have open carry, right? So it's a whole different. I'm assuming that gun laws affect the way we're able, at least legally, to protect ourselves. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amun. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Babu. Um, I say definitely gun laws play a hand in it, but if it came to a point of life versus death, like Malcolm X said, every man has a right to preserve his life. He has a human right to defend themselves. Now, as we are in quote unquote soft peacetime, by meaning it's a Cold War situation, yeah, follow the law. Follow the law by all means. I believe in following the law until it's unfair. And if it's unfair, I ain't gonna tell you what to do, but I'm pretty sure you know what to do. Okay, I'm gonna talk without talking. But yeah, in the meantime, in between time, gun laws do have an issue, and it is designed in some states to curtail us from carrying weapons and defending ourselves. It does have an issue with that. What I would suggest is because if you notice, a lot of states in the United States have started to loosen up on gun laws. If it requires it, and Texas is a totally constitutional state now, you don't even have to have a license to carry. I still recommend you do anyway, but you don't have to. But if you're outside of the South and you're required to get those licenses, get the licenses. Carry. If you're a felon and you did your time and it's been a certain amount of time, look up the laws for expungement. Get it expunged and carry. Because one day, if all hell breaks out, I ain't telling you what to do, but I think you know what to do.
Right. And, and to further expound on that, New York has some of the most stringent gun laws in the country, along with the state of California. But here's the thing: you still have white gun clubs in your state. New York City has a white gun club. California has multiple white gun clubs. So if they can organize, we should be able to do the same. You know, your laws are more stringent, yes, but you have to apply yourself to get around some of these laws, and we still have to exercise our Second Amendment right. And the reason I say that as gun clubs are so important, our communities can be attacked at any time, like we saw in Tulsa, Oklahoma, like we saw in Natchez, Mississippi. We can be under attack at any time. If some of you remember, we had a group that came to Dallas who wanted to come to the black community, and they wanted to walk around with those firearms. And my organization was out there to basically tell them, no, that's not going to happen. This happened again in
Hmm.
Fifth Ward. This happened again in Fifth Ward in 2014. A white militia wanted to come to Fifth Ward, Texas, one of the blackest of the black communities in the country, and they said that they wanted to train black people, inform black people about their rights. But at the same time, they was at a senator's office holding a piece of chicken at a black senator's office. So we saw the hypocrisy in that, and we stopped that gun club from marching in both Fifth Ward and another one from marching both in Dallas, Texas. So I'm saying all this to say these white militias will come to your community and they will try to threaten the people of that community. And now that we have these militias and ASAFOs and gun clubs, it's made things a lot harder for them. And I'm gonna say this, and I know this is YouTube, but if it came down to it, us in defense of ourselves and in defense of our communities, we can kill a lot of those motherfuckers. It ain't gonna just be no free walk in the park.
Yes, sir.
Right.
That's comforting. That's actually comforting to hear. And I want to add to this because I think sometimes our community at large, we're too governable, which means that people who are oppressed, one of the key things we're striving for is to be ungovernable, meaning that we get to a point where we're not a respecter of their authority. Now, we understand we don't want to be foolhardy, right? We want to be discerning and judicious. But if people are illegally shooting on you, trying to take your life, you shouldn't be in your home or place of business talking about, do we have a registered gun? Do we have a license? At that point, you got to protect your life, man. That's all we got, right? So it's important that those watching, you understand, no one here is trying to say do anything foolhardy or foolish, but when your life is on the line, and I think we can argue that we have been the victims of at least a genocidal attempt, if not genocide, that we have to kind of shift our thinking on a case-by-case basis. Brother Moon, I think, said that if you can get licensed and registered, do that. I think Babu would agree. But they also are implying to you, family, when it comes to protecting your babies, your queens, your elders, man, we got to do what we got to do. Because the enemy snatches us up. What's his name? Zimmerman snatched up Brother Trayvon, completely wrong on all counts. He wasn't no cop. He didn't have the official status of the state. He was a white vigilante. And he still did what he did and got away. So we have to be able to meet their force, however it comes, intellectually, physically, militarily, and financially. So I really, the Queen said that we're having a very good discussion, and I would agree. I want to ask, how do you specifically help to protect the Black community? Because a lot of people don't know what you do, what your organizations or formations do. So how would you answer that? Like, how do you help to protect us?
I think the first thing that we have to do is be visual. People learn by observation and participation. So if you see Black men and women out in the community, patrolling their communities on foot with firearms, you see us dialoguing with the young people, that is the first step. Protecting a community according to where you're from, that is going to be a hard thing because our communities are so big and we can't be at every place at one time. But I think the first step is for people to actually see us boots on the ground and opening a dialogue with the people, explaining to them why we're here in your neighborhood, why are we walking around with these guns, and giving them a justifiable reason to go out and purchase firearms and be able to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To further expand, my unit used to do a lot of community patrols. I stopped them, and I'm gonna tell you why. I stopped them because our people were the ones calling the SWAT teams on us, and I think that's a doggone shame because when we go through these neighborhoods, they're the ones that shooting each other left and right. And I'm confused right now. But when they see us, all of a sudden, we need to call the police. I don't understand that. I think a lot of this thing with our people, and not disrespecting my people, I love them with all my heart. But if we're gonna have a discussion, it has to be a real one. No, I'm not gonna have it. All right. The thing of the matter is, we fear our enemy. There's nothing wrong with respect. I respect my enemy. That means I'm not gonna take them for granted. But at the end of the day, we fear them. And it's almost like we're doing their work for them. You're going to stop the doggone revolutionary soldiers from doing anything. I mean, it happens in the movement. You're trying to shut down organizations. You're browbeating other generals. Then you go out there, then on top of that, in the community themselves, they browbeating organizations. They browbeating the leaders of people that's trying to do something genuinely for the people. I always said it in every speech. I said, you ain't scared of no nigga, but it's something about the troglodytes that make you pass out. It raises your blood pressure. It's a slave mentality, even outside and even inside the movement to a degree. Because I could walk down the street all day with every weapon I have. Do you know those teenagers down the street right now in the hood with more weapons probably than I have? And I got a lot of guns. All right. I can teach them about weapon safety. That's true. That's very important. I saw Mama Brenda say we need to do community trainings in public and offer that. We have. Here's the other part. They don't show. They don't show. I've had literally a program called No Mercy. It's designed to teach sisters martial arts that are especially survivors of domestic violence for free. Only one sister showed up in 3 years of that. So we're giving our time. We're giving our time. We're sacrificing. We're taking away time from our family. We're taking out. We want to rest too. We're taking away from our rest to give to the community. But if the community doesn't reciprocate or show some kind of support, what else can we do?
And brother, I think to expand just a little bit, we have to be armed with propaganda when we go into these communities. We can't just go in empty-handed. You know that the original party of the Panthers, they never went anywhere without newspapers, without propaganda explaining exactly why that they were in these communities. And I think we should follow suit. Again, I use the term that Huey P. Newton is famous for is observation and participation. People learn by observing you, and you have to have information that's relevant to what you're doing to pass out to the people.
Because I feel you on that. Certainly, so when I'm listening to you, it sounds like we need to ante up on the political education part of this. We got to make sure that people know why they need protection, although we shouldn't have to explain that. Why we need protection, the different forms that takes, what role you guys play, how you're here to help. Yeah, I can see that. Now, there's a brother, Derek Witherspoon. He asked the question, what do you think about Irritated Genie's approach dealing with white supremacy groups trying to unite with them to fight Jews? Okay. I think it's insane. I think it's insane too. But what do y'all think?
I didn't know Genie was on that kind of time. I actually know Genie. I gotta give him a call. I'm not for that. I'm not signing up for that, buddy.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
No, sir.
There are many ways to fight oppression, and if that is the route that Irritated Genie wants to take, then more power to him, because there are so many ills in our community, and there are so many ways that our people needs to be reached. So if that is his platform, then more power to him.
Yes, sir. See, Brother Babu is being diplomatic. I love the brother for that.
Okay.
Look at what my queen wrote. She said, "Put that genie back in the bottle."
Back in the bottle. I can't do it. I mean, look, all respect to my brother. I love what his platform was about and the things that he talked about. But I'm just going to be real with you. I know my enemy. I'm clearly defined on what the enemy is and what he stands for. And I'm not going to take, if we try to fight what got us into slavery, we literally have to go back. That's why Anubis shirt is coming out, shameless plug. Anubis University established in 1619. The reason why is because that's exactly what got us here. We's in trouble. We's gonna have issues. We's got to get with massive. I don't see not one troglodyte Neanderthal, caveman, that is going to help my people truly achieve liberation. Even the abolitionists back in the day had a political agenda, and that's the reason why they did it. All right, I'm not falling for that no more. Why can't we do it? Why can't we solely do it? I'm tired of giving the white man that much power. Why can't we just do it? All we got to do is stop trying to destroy each other, stop trying to derail each other, have some common sense, kill the rumor mill, be disciplined, study our African knowledge and hold true to it, and bam, there we go. But for some reason, it's this fight shoulder is hard. We just got to put on our tap shoes and call master. I don't need a white daddy. I never had one. I don't want one either. White daddy, can you help us, please? Politics show is hard. No, I like Malema's approach. I guess that's the difference between me and a lot of folks. I like Malema's approach. If we can't get what we want our own, I'm not going to ask you to give it to me no more. I have no problem taking it.
Yeah. I concur with that. I'm going to leave this alone because I don't want to beat up on another African, but I certainly
Yeah,
don't agree with that.
I'm
But
done. I need a drink after that one. So
yeah, I'm
what?
not going to agree with that one. I'm more of a Malcolm student. Malcolm believe in oppositional logic. That if we're sounding too much like our enemies, if we're moving too much like our enemies, if we're parroting their ideology, then that's problematic. We're supposed to be oppositional. You know that we're
Right, because we
adversarial.
become mentally colonized. Now you're dealing with mental colonization. So when are we gonna
I'm
not
not
be
gonna beat up on it,
colonized?
brother.
No, I'm not gonna be
I,
that
I
much.
that
Hey,
gave
I'm
me a
not gonna
good
do that.
chuckle. That gave me a good chuckle.
I
Now
can't. I
we
can't sign
actually
up
are
for
going over time.
that.
We're going over time, but that's good. The brothers is a vibrant conversation. It's very informative. I'm curious to know what do you say to the black people who live in a place where there is no formation like a militia or a black gun club, or their brothers that or sisters that are felons and don't have, let's say, access to get guns? What would you suggest to people like that in terms of forming organizations to protect the community?
That's
First
always
and
it. I mean, it was. Oh, go ahead, Pablo. You got it, girls.
well, first and foremost, if you are in a community where there is no gun club or there is no militia, you are your own first responder. Don't depend on anybody else to protect you. By the time you make a phone call, I mean, if you're under attack, and by the time you make a phone call and somebody gets to your house to help you, I mean, you could be out of there. So you are your own first responder. As for those that are felons, we're never going to tell a felon to go out and buy a firearm. We shouldn't have to tell you that. Well, you can't buy one anyway. Okay. So the penalty for a felon having a firearm in the United States uh, carries a 10-year federal prison sentence. So as a gun advocate, we're never going to tell you to go out and have a firearm or purchase a firearm. But then to make it clear, we shouldn't have to tell you that. You should have the ability to defend yourselves. I don't give a darn. I'm gonna try to keep my stuff clean. I don't care about what the laws are. At the end of the day, you have to have the ability to defend yourself, and you have to have the ability to defend your family.
Right.
It is. I would definitely agree with that. A lot of this, but as Brother Moon and Brother Babu have said, is quote unquote common sense. But I'm starting to think we should call that uncommon sense,
Yeah,
because it seems like every time we say it's common sense, so many in the community don't have it. So maybe we should call it uncommon sense, because it's not common. It would appear.
I think
Are
it's.
there
I
any?
think it's. Go ahead, Bob.
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
please go ahead. No. Go ahead,
I
please.
think. I think it's primarily because we have, thanks to social media, we got a lot of online asafo. Asafo means a warrior people, right? So we got a whole bunch of online asafo. If you looked online, our doggone numbers online, we got millions and millions of warriors with machetes shaped like keyboards. Okay, or should I say keyboards shaped like machetes? We got a whole lot of digital AR-15s. We got a lot of
Mm,
folks playing African Center Call of Duty every single day. But if you ask these brothers and sisters, hey, why don't you join Anubis? Hey, why don't you join Huey P? I mean, I'm not talking about the group. I'm talking about actually joining the unit. Well, brother, you scared of getting fired. You scared of this. You scared of that. You're scared of this. But then behind, when you get back on the keyboard, I'm a warrior. I'm a nation builder. I'm this. I'm that. I don't want to be a part of your nation because it's made out of matchsticks. Okay.
mm,
At the end of it, we need more people like myself, Babu, Nick, my brother Mike Payne, and other brothers and sisters that I know out there working that are putting a boot to the ground because we have not forgotten that the people is not limited to a series of zeros and ones called binary code. It's consistent of us going outside, twisting that thing you call a doorknob, pushing this thing called a door open, walking outside and looking at Earth and dealing with what's in front of you instead of all day. It's crazy. It's crazy. You're a coward offline, but you the baddest warrior on earth online. You Conan the Barbarian until you log off.
Yes.
And then you call it groups like mine and others extreme because we will do what we. If I say I'm coming to get you at 2 o'clock tonight, Bob will pretty much know 2 at 1:59. I'm gonna show up because I don't like to be late. Right? So it's the whole thing of we got to get out of this digital thing. As long as we are addicted to Facebook, Instagram, and all this other stuff, it's good for giving information. It's good for bringing awareness. But after that, when is all of this knowledge going to be put to proper application? If it's not, then it's like faith without works. It's fruitless.
I feel you on that, brother Moon. I personally, I have said often, written often that I don't trust leaders, community organizers, whatever, that don't have a record of fighting. You have to be a fighter.
Yes, sir.
You gotta be. It's just like our street organization or our gangs. They don't just take an application and you sign your name and you let them in. They get jumped in. They get beaten up in. They're sent to do tasks. In other words, our leaders have to be tested and tried. Now that may it may manifest differently for a gun club or militia versus a political education center. But I want all my leaders to have a track record of having fought the enemy and hopefully effectively and successfully fought them. So I see people talk all the time and I want to know, I say, okay, were you part of protest? Did you protest an enemy's establishment or institution? Did you seek reparations? Were you fighting legislatively? I want to see that you have a record of fighting, and fighting takes place different ways. But I agree, because how else do you know that you can trust a person in battle if they have no record of having fought? The white man don't let you just join the military because you sign up on the dotted line. He puts you through a boot camp, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so you got to do exercise, fight, shoot before he's going to let you out there. And if you don't pass the test, I understand there's also an intellectual part that they won't accept you from the jump. So I think we need to approach it that way. We need to be able to shoot resumes, receipts, and references. That's very important to me.
I think we need to change outfits too. I'm sorry. I think we need to change uniforms too. If you wear a uniform, that means you're combatant. So if you say I am fighting, I'm marching and protesting, that's not fighting. That's marching and protesting. That's called a show of force. If you have military fatigues on and you don't want to go to the range and you don't want to work out and you don't want to run, you don't want to shoot, you don't want to do stuff that soldiers do, then you can go to the store and get some Dockers and a polo shirt or a business suit and fight that way. If you want to be a combatant, it doesn't work. So when we on the battlefield, when the pigs see you and you have these, guess what they see? Enemy. If you're not comfortable with being that, I'm talking to the people watching. If you're not comfortable with being seen and identifying as an enemy, go get some Dockers, polo shirt, business suit, put that on, put some red, black, and green beads on, let everybody know that you're for the people, and pass your groceries out. It's okay.
And just to complicate that, for those watching, I want to give that a little complication because I know where Moon is coming from. But I just want to make sure I say this. You got white people who are legislators. They don't know nothing about a gun. They never pick up a gun. They scared of bullets, but they put on that suit and they're writing their way to your captivity. They're writing laws that keep you captive. So just remember, there are many ways to get involved in the liberation struggle. I want to caution us against people thinking there's one way to do this, because white supremacy is like a 20-headed dragon. So you cut it off we thought legislation was it in the 60s, really the 50s, and we got all these bills, and we were still getting our asses whipped and couldn't go to school and couldn't vote. So people understood, oh, it's not just legislation. That's one head. Then people thought it was just military. Well, that's one head. Then people thought it was, so it's a lot of things. They're holidays. They do it culturally through movies and songs and propaganda. So I would say to the community, get in where you fit in. Choose your lane, but make sure whatever lane you're in, you're authentic and you're competent. Don't be in any lane if you're not serious and if you're not willing to put in the work. So I'm not going against what Amun said. I'm building on what he said. It's very important we understand that nuance part. We can all get in where we fit in, but you got to be serious. You got to be sincere. And you got to put in the work. Those are the qualifications. Brother Babu, you look like you was getting ready to say something.
Well, I just wanted to expound on something that you just said. After I finish this broadcast, I'll be going to a newly opening political education center that they're opening in Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas. One of the worst areas in Dallas, and there's a group of Muslim brothers who see the need for re-education of our people. We understand that our children go to school and they get the white man's education, but after they get out of school, they have to come home, and we, the parents, and we, the community, have to re-educate our children and indoctrinate them on the Black liberation struggle. So I think education is key, because when our kids are reading on a 47-cent level, national, I believe it's something like that. You can look those numbers up, but we're behind every other ethnic group when it comes to our ability to read. If you can't read, then that transpires in not being able to articulate information. So I think education is going to be one of the key fundamental things that we have to use to make a turnaround in our social environment.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? It's funny because of Brother Babu, I don't know if you know that, but myself and Brother Amun and some other brothers we were trying to do this national formation where we would kind of share our recipes, our blueprints for whatever it is that we had our expertise in. So I would come and share our political education curriculum, what a liberation school looks like. Amun would come share his thing, and this one would come share his thing. And as Brother Amun knows, some pettiness and some ego and stuff got in the way. But I really want to say to those watching, what I'm finding is that we have brilliant brothers and sisters. Let's take Brother Babu and Amun. Brilliant intellectually, but brilliant in terms of heart. Understanding that some things have to be converted to action on the ground that people can relate to, right? The problem is, it seems like there are places in the community where there are no liberation schools, there are no militias, there are no gun clubs. So how do we address that? We need to find a way to take our blueprints and share them and go to these places so that we're replicating these, so that everywhere in this country, I think the Queen said, everywhere there's Africans and New Africans, we should have these formations. And I really, although the NBLF didn't work, Brother Amun, I'm hoping that maybe with the three of us and others that we can start a movement to take our blueprints that we know work and go and travel to these different places and plant our flag there, man, so that our people everywhere have the protection and the knowledge that we're providing in our local places. What do y'all think about that?
Well, if I could, we got another brother that's not here right now. And I think I got another little brother now named Mike Payne. But me, Babu, and my brother Nick have this thing we call the Hydra. It's kind of like all organs, like a coalition that we came up with, but really it's just, I live by, Babu put this quote up, I actually live by it. It takes 3 people to take over a country. You see what I'm saying? But we all, what's beautiful about it is we all have those same ideologies that the original ideology of the NBLF had. And that's exactly what we're doing. Babu is a godfather. This man built the biggest gun club in North America. You got to salute that. You got to respect that. You know what I mean? But he's put his stamp. And all we're doing is following along. And we might add little tidbits to it. But you can't beat that stamp. So we'll say, okay, well, what about this? Well, that's a good idea. All right, well, let's put that on there. Now let's put this on there. Now let's put this on there. Now let's sprinkle some more on this on there. Now let's get some more people that I don't know is more politically based. Let's put them on there. All right. So what I like about it is the fact that we are doing exactly that. If you look at it, we're building the military side of the government. Just looking for the legislators now.
Mm-hmm. I shaded that. I feel you. I'm going to put this on the table. I'm going to say this publicly. I'm going to suggest that we have a conference that is of a national nature, and we don't have 100 people coming. We don't need 100 people. Maybe 20 at the most, maybe 15 at the most, that are representative of military, law, health, political education, and those different areas, and we start sharing blueprints and replicating all over the country. The thing that white folk got beyond their skin privilege and all that is they have networks all over. I mean, imagine if New York City was the only place in the country that had a post office. Or imagine if Houston was the only place that had a supermarket. That's not going to work. So we got to start seeing the things that we do as being invaluable all over the country and making sure that we, through books, maybe through films, I don't know. But that is, to me, before I die, that's something I want to be part of. That is very important. That the things we build not be dependent on us, because we don't know what'll happen with us, but we got to leave blueprints so that another generation will pick up the baton and keep running. And I think that's where we are failing. And when I say failing, brothers, I don't mean that as a personal, like you're failing. As a movement, I don't think that we're thinking about taking the best plans we have and making sure that, as the Queen says, that we're connecting the dots. So I'm going to talk to brothers privately another time. We have to have a national conference. This has to be some of our best, our brightest, our most effective, our most consistent. Not a whole bunch of people flapping their jaws. Secret. We don't advertise it. We're not doing digital flyers and secretive. We meet somewhere and we knock this out over a weekend and we share these blueprints and we follow up if we need to travel to places and help people to plant these flags, because we're losing in our capacity raising. We're not raising enough capacity everywhere we exist. So New York got it popping with political education, but New York is whack in terms of self-defense. You feel me? But you see, so that's what I'm trying to say, that everybody, we raise the capacity everywhere that Africans exist and then take it globally. Because then the question is, how are our people doing in Uruguay and South America and Central America and on the continent? And those are things that mean a lot to me, raising capacity everywhere so we don't become hyper localized, you know?
Right.
Are there any last points? Well, let me get Brother Babu back in. Are there any last points that anyone here wants to raise that we didn't discuss yet?
I want to correct. I like to explain. My wife does this great thing. She understands and I'm passionate when I say stuff, but she said it's better when you explain where you're coming from because it makes more sense. And I'm glad that she does that. So I'm going to take our time to clean up. I don't care about saying that. What I just said about the soldier thing. First of all, as a general, it's coming from a place of frustration, and I'm going to tell you why. We have entered an age where people saying that we're at the point of more philosophy. We don't have time for that. We're literally looking at an extinction level event happening amongst our people. So when I say we need warriors, it's because it's true. Yes, we do need legislators. We need people in office. Matter of fact, I'm going to put this out there. I know a brother that's running for city council right now, Lloyd Ford. Vote for him. You ain't never heard me say that. Vote for that brother because that's who you want on your side. You have never heard me say that. But if I have confidence in anybody in city council, it will be Lloyd Ford. The brother grew up in the Pan-African community, very African-centered, very much for the people. Vote for Lloyd Ford. I would not say that you can't fight in offices. I said fight because there are those of us that have this gear on have these uniforms on and are doing nothing but talking about how much of a warrior they are and doing nothing. Nothing. So if you're doing nothing, go get your Dockers, your blue jeans, your shorts, your flip flops, your Crocs, and move to the side because now we are literally looking at warfare on every level. And if you're not willing to fight it on every level, then that's a problem. So no, I'm
No,
not going to say
I
that.
think that's yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's
but
clear.
yeah, you should know weaponry still because if somebody kicks in your door, like I tell my troops, don't just train to be in the Anubis. Take it home with you. I get on my wife's nerves. I swear I do. Every time she goes somewhere, now you got your pistol. You got your pistol. Why don't you have your pistol? Where's your pistol? I'm not with you. Keep your head looking left or right. Get out the phone when you walk. This, 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 this. Everything that you're learning in Anubis, you take that with you. Because if somebody kicks in your door, you got to know how to defend yourself. You have the God-given right to defend your life. Nobody should have to tell you that. They ain't got to tell you in the hood. The
That's
white
right.
man don't have the right to take your life either, in case you don't know. They don't have a right to take your life either. The white man does
That's
not
right.
have the right to take your life. And if they try to
That's
take
right.
your life, you have the God-given right to take their ass off the planet. So I
Yes.
hope that
And
clarifies that.
no, brother, you were clear when you said it the first time. I think you were clear. We're just trying to complicating it to let people know. Sometimes, obviously, I know what I do. I'm a quote unquote
Mm-hmm.
expert in what I do. But sometimes I have to
Mm-hmm.
be careful not to think because I'm this educator and community organizer that that's all there
Right,
is, right? Because that's what I
right, right,
do.
right.
But I have to be able to understand that there's other people in the community that are experts in what they do. And what they do is equally important. So for instance,
As long as
we're
they're
talking about
doing it.
we're talking about the military part. So check
Right,
this out.
right,
Let's say that next week you, Babu, all of our brothers and sisters in the militias successfully fight, take over the government, overthrow it, and we free. Who's going to write the law for the nation? Who's going to educate the babies? Who's going to transmit the cultural transmission of knowledge intergenerationally? This is what I'm saying.
right.
What we're doing is not just the fight part.
Mm-hmm.
Study Revolution in Nations. Kwame and Nkrumah was messed up. They were able to fight successfully. They got their liberation from Britain, but they didn't know how to build a dam. So what they have to do to go right back to the oppressor, pay them way overpriced to get them to come in and tell them how to build a dam. When what we could have done was while we're fighting and doing all that, we learn these things. Dispatch
Right,
people to learn these things. That's all I'm
right.
saying, family. I want people to know I'm not in disagreement with our brother Moon. I'm just trying to complicate it, that it's a little more to it. That's all. A lot of
Yeah,
us
you're
are
exactly
big
right.
on reality. This ain't a reality show, so we're not doing that. What I'm saying is he's right. And in addition, that's what we're doing. So it's very important that
Yeah.
we understand that. Wait, look,
I have no
Sister
problem at
Rose,
all with you putting that shit ass on.
Sister Rose says, thanks to Sister Brenda, her husband said we about to go to the gun store now. That's all right. Well, that's a good thing. Yes. That's a good thing. Listen, brothers, we are going to get ready to go with past time. I just want to make sure, is there anything that you didn't get to say that you want to say before we leave?
Yeah, in closing, first and foremost, apologies for fading in and out. Every time my phone rings, my hearing shuts down, so I have to go out and come back in. But I think that we have to look more at international affairs. We can't just subject ourselves to what's going on only in our communities. We have to be aware of what's going on internationally. We look at Israel, a nuclear state, becoming more and more radical. We look at the wars in Europe, Russia and Ukraine. We look at the liberation of African countries against the French. And man, we're just one circumstance away from total world war. And when this happens, where does that leave the fate of Black people? So we have to start organizing ourselves right now for the worst case scenarios. So I'm just going to leave it at that, brother. I appreciate you for having me on the program. It's been a very interesting discussion, but we have to be more aware of what's going on in the world and not just our backyard.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, Brother Babu. Brother Moon, any last words, something that you didn't get to say that you want to say?
In the year 2024, which is a couple of months from now, it's going to be, like Babu said, it's going to be real colorful around here, especially for Black people. And if you think it's a game, all you got to do is go outside and look around. It's up to you to decide that you want to get the testicular or the ovarian fortitude to defend yourselves or at least learn, because you're going to
I like that gender equity you gave that. I like that.
Yeah. Also, human trafficking has substantially increased. If you don't take that serious, sisters, when you walking outside, then you're going to end up a victim, because you're walking down the street with your heads in your phones again. You're not paying attention. You're doing whatever you got to do. Just keep your heads on a swivel, family. Keep your heads on a swivel and prepare. Survival training is a must also. If you don't know this stuff, I happily volunteer at Babu. They specialize at the Huey P Gun Club. They specialize in survival training also. You can't say you don't know this stuff. You can't say you can't learn this stuff. You can't say it's not there. It is. All you have to do is reach out and get it. I don't need you to be in Anubis for me to help you or teach you. If you join Anubis, that means you got other people to cover your six, and you want to take care of the people. But if you're just a civilian, if you're a civilian and you want to be a civilian, but you want to learn how to survive, look us up, because it's there. Sisters, if you need help because you're a domestic violence survivor and you want to learn martial arts, if we give the classes, go to them. If you don't and you get your bell rung again, it's nobody else's fault but yours for not seeking out help when it was available to you for free. Let's stop being victims. Let's start being victors. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I want to just underscore that Brother Amun and Brother Babu are both on Facebook. I'm putting their names up so that you all, if you want to hit them up, you can do so. Give me one second. This is just their complete names. You can go to Facebook. You can find both of them. I'm going to humbly ask, don't go to them with no BS, family. Go to them if you're serious and sincere and you want to help and you want to assist or know certain information. I want to thank not just the brothers in the studio. I want to thank all of you that have been giving some very stimulating and sometimes funny commentary for the show. Sister Rose, Sister Queen Brenda, Jaden Carter, Derek Witherspoon. Who else we got? Man, we got quite a few people here. I don't know if I missed anybody. Sister Mila, certainly. Sister Elena Porter, who deals with nationhood and nation building. And I think I got everybody. I want to thank all of you, Accountability, the Truth, all of you for coming on and adding flavor to our discussion. I'm going to keep bringing up this national conference to my brothers privately, because I really think that that's where this is going, to be able to organize, but not have all these. I have radically different opinions of how things work in the real world than a lot of my fellow nationalists. Decisions aren't made by 200 people. They got to be a closer group, and then we roll it out to the 200 people. So I'm going to be talking to you brothers and some other sisters and brothers around the country to see if we can work that out. Maybe over by next summer, if we can do something like that. I think there's one last. Queen Brenda says, Brother Moon, are the self-defense classes online?
They can be. All it takes me is a volunteer. One of my soldiers could be with me, and I could do classes via Zoom. Whatever we got to do to get this done. I do hand-to-hand, and I do knife fighting also. So, and I do want to teach y'all about weapons of opportunity. In fact, I did a elders training class. I don't know if y'all remember. I did a live video during Black August to teach elders how to do workout. But I also said I wanted to teach y'all how to do hand-to-hand combat. If you show, I'll go.
Excellent. And Jaden Carter jumped in and said that he's going to be getting certified as an instructor trainer in a couple of months and offering classes in the community. He's in Beaumont, Texas. So we thank all of you for contributing. We're going to go. We ask that you go in peace, but like Jagna Khalid Muhammad said, peace when possible and violence when necessary. And I think that's what we all represent here. We want to thank y'all, man. Peace and Black Power family. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow our brothers. And don't just be followers, be supporters, right? Thank y'all, family. Peace and Black Power.
Habibi for Hodie.